Support for a new third party gains ground in U.S. politics, Michael Snyder reports. The 2024 election cycle is likely to be the most chaotic election cycle that we have ever seen. So, will this create an opportunity for a new third party to try to pull off a historic upset? Unless something really dramatic happens, Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee and Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee in 2024. But I don't think that they will be the only two choices. There are rumors that one or two prominent third-party candidates could soon enter the race, and it appears that large numbers of Americans may be willing to embrace such a candidate. In fact, a Gallup survey that was just released discovered that a whopping 63% of U.S. adults believe that a third party is needed. 63% of U.S. adults currently agree with the statement that the Republican Democratic parties do such a poor job of representing the American people that a third major party is needed. This represents a 7% point increase from a year ago and is the highest since Gallup first asked the question in 2003. This certainly does not mean that 63% of U.S. adults would actually vote for a third party candidate, but what this does mean is that conditions have never been more favorable for such a candidate to emerge. If you go back 20 years ago, only 40% of U.S. adults felt that a third party was needed. In 2003, a record low 40% called for third party when 56% thought the parties were doing an adequate job of representing the American people. Times have changed, clearly, and it should not be a surprise to anyone that independents are more interested in a third major party than anyone else. Typically, political independents are most likely to favor a third party, and that is the case this year, with 75% expressing this view. No less than 70% of independents have said a third U.S. party is needed since 2013. In recent days, there have been rumors that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is considering launching an independent bid as a third-party candidate, and if he did go that direction, polls show that he would have quite a bit of support. An American Values poll conducted Zogby Strategies of Likely General Election Voters shows that in a three-way race between Kennedy, Trump, and Biden, R.F. Kennedy Jr. enters the contest at 19%, with Biden and Trump at 38% each. Kennedy would be the highest polling independent or third-party candidate to enter a presidential election in the modern era, starting off where Ross Perot finished after spending an enormous amount of money. If this poll shows anything, said Tony Lyons, co-chairman of American Values 2024, it's that Kennedy can win as an independent candidate in 2024. In a three-way race, RFK Jr. would probably take more votes away from Trump than he would from Biden. There are also rumors that No Labels is preparing to mount a third-party bid for the White House. Political organization No Labels, which has been pushing for a bipartisan ticket to mount a third-party bid for the White House, is urging state Democratic Party officials not to interfere with its efforts after President Biden said its leaders had a democratic right to do what they're doing. Following Biden's remarks, former Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman, independent, former Missouri Governor Jay Nixon, Democrat, and former head of the NAACP, Benjamin Chavez Jr., called for the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, to end what they characterized as an anti-democratic campaign against the group. I think that No Labels does intend to make such a move, and it's likely that Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia will be their candidate. If that's the case, Manchin would definitely take more votes away from Biden than he would from Trump. We shall see what happens. In my opinion, I think that this will be the first election cycle in ages where there is at least one viable third-party alternative. And that will almost certainly greatly impact the outcome of the election. Of course, we do not have to wait until next year for high-stake potential political drama. Kevin McCarthy just lost his spot as Speaker of the House in a stunning turn of events, and some Republicans are suggesting that Donald Trump should replace him. When asked about this, Trump did not completely dismiss the idea. A lot of people have been calling me about Speaker, And all I can say is we'll do whatever is best for the country and for the Republican Party, Trump said Wednesday while at a Manhattan courthouse for the third day of his civil fraud trial. And Trump, his adult sons, and his businesses are being sued for up to $250 million in penalties stemming from what New York authorities describe as persistent business fraud. Despite the trial, Trump took a minute to answer reporters' questions about the possibility of speakership bid. My focus is totally on the presidency. If I can help them during the process, I'll do it, but we have some great people in the Republican Party that can do a great job as Speaker, Trump said. But it is not likely to happen. Instead, either Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan will almost certainly get the job. For the moment, Patrick McHenry temporarily has the gavel, and one of his first acts was to order Nancy Pelosi to vacate her Capitol hideaway office. Speaker pro tem Patrick McHenry, Republican, North Carolina, ordered Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, to vacate her Capitol hideaway office so he could take it over just hours after becoming acting Speaker, Pelosi's office said on Tuesday. McHenry became acting Speaker after Representative Kevin McCarthy, Republican, California, was ousted from the role on Tuesday, the first time a Speaker has been voted out of the job. McHenry's office requested that Pelosi vacate her Capitol hideaway office by Wednesday because it was being relocated for Speaker office use. The message, first reported by Politico, reads, a small number of senior representatives have hideaway offices inside the Capitol building. Needless to say, Nancy Pelosi did not take this at all well. I expect animosity between the two major parties to continue to rise throughout the next year. And adding a prominent third-party candidate or two in the mix will certainly make things more interesting. Our nation is more divided today than ever before, and the coming election will only deepen those divisions. If you are concerned about where all of this is ultimately heading, you are definitely not alone. This is by Michael Snyder, and he says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I also freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.